The best gift would be if you disappeared from our family. My name is Stewart. I'm 57, and I run a small plumbing supply business in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kevin said those words to me the day before my daughter's wedding. Not during an argument, not in the heat of anger, just cold matter of fact, like he was ordering coffee. I stood in the hotel lobby where the rehearsal dinner had just ended. My daughter Sophia was upstairs probably calling her bridesmaids about last-minute details. Kevin had cornered me by the elevators away from everyone else. I'm serious, Stewart, he continued. Sophia and I would be better off without your constant interference. I'd been paying for their wedding for 8 months, $85,000 so far. The venue, catering, flowers, photography, band, honeymoon. Kevin knew this. He'd been there when I signed every check. Interference. I kept my voice level. You act like you own us because you throw money around. We don't need your charity. That stung because it wasn't charity. It was love. But Kevin saw everything as a transaction, a power play. He'd been like this since the engagement, treating me like an ATM with opinions. Maybe you're right, I said. Something in my tone made him pause. He'd expected me to argue, to defend myself, to promise I'd back off. Instead, I pulled out my phone. What are you doing? Granting your wish. I scrolled through my contacts. You want me gone? Fine. But when I disappear, everything I brought disappears with me. Kevin's face changed. For the first time in months, he looked uncertain. What do you mean? I hit the first number. The wedding coordinator picked up on the second ring. Jennifer, this is Stewart Patterson. I need to cancel all services for tomorrow's wedding. Yes, all of them. Effective immediately. Kevin grabbed my arm. Wait, what are you doing? I shrugged him off and kept dialing. The caterer was next, then the florist. Kevin stood there, mouth open, as I systematically destroyed 8 months of planning in 10 minutes. You said you'd be better off without me. I reminded him. Let's find out. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside and turned to face him. He looked pale, finally understanding what he just lost. Not just me. Everything. The honeymoon's paid through Sunday, I said as the doors closed. After that, you're on your own. I went back to my room and started packing. By morning, I'd be gone, just like Kevin wanted. I'd been planning this wedding since Sophia got engaged 14 months ago. My late wife, Caroline, would have loved seeing our daughter in white, walking down the aisle of St. Peter's Cathedral. Caroline died 3 years ago, cancer, and I'd thrown myself into work afterward. The business kept me busy, but Sophia kept me human. When she brought Kevin home 2 years ago, I tried to like him. He was polite enough at first, worked in marketing for some tech company, dressed well, said the right things. But there were small moments that bothered me. The way he ordered for Sophia at restaurants without asking what she wanted. How he'd check his phone during conversations. The casual dismissiveness when she'd mention her childhood memories or stories about her mother. I figured every father thinks no man is good enough for his daughter. The warning signs got clearer after the engagement. Kevin started treating family dinners like board meetings, always steering conversations toward his work achievements or future plans. When Sophia mentioned wanting a traditional Catholic ceremony, Kevin rolled his eyes and said they'd keep it simple. She looked hurt, but didn't argue. That's when I stepped in with the wedding funding. I told them I wanted to give them the celebration Caroline would have planned. Sophia cried and hugged me. Kevin shook my hand and said all the right words, but his smile never reached his eyes. Over the months, the pattern became clear. Kevin would complain to Sophia about my meddling whenever I had opinions about vendors or arrangements, but he never complained when I wrote the checks. He'd even started suggesting upgrades, better wine for the reception, a more expensive band, first-class honeymoon flights. Meanwhile, he grew bolder about disrespecting me directly. Last month, when I questioned the cost of his bachelor party weekend in Miami, he said, "If you can't afford it, just say so." I'd paid for that, too. $4,000 for him and his friends to drink and gamble for 3 days. Sophia didn't see it. She was caught up in wedding planning, work stress, and trying to keep everyone happy. When I tried to hint that Kevin seemed ungrateful, she'd defend him. He's just Stress, Dad. The wedding planning is overwhelming. But it wasn't overwhelming for him. He wasn't planning anything. He'd show up to vendor meetings, agree with whatever Sophia and I had decided, then complain later about details he hadn't bothered to engage with. The night before the rehearsal dinner, I overheard him on the phone with someone, probably his best man. After tomorrow, I won't have to pretend to like the old man anymore, he said. Sophia feels guilty about her mom, so she lets him play wedding planner. Whatever keeps him busy. That's when I knew Kevin had to go. I just didn't know he'd make it so easy for me. I sat in my hotel room, that night staring at my phone. 11 missed calls from Kevin, 7 from Sophia. I turned off the ringer after the third one. The voicemails told the story. First, Kevin panicked. "Stuart, we need to talk. I think there's been a misunderstanding." Then Sophia, confused. "Dad, Kevin says you canceled the wedding. That can't be right. Call me back." Then Kevin again, angry now. "This is insane. You can't just destroy your daughter's wedding because you're having some kind of breakdown." Finally, Sophia crying, "Daddy, please. I don't know what happened between you and Kevin, but we can fix it. This is my wedding day. Please don't do this to me." That last message nearly broke me. But I've been breaking for months, watching Kevin treat my generosity like his birthright, while dismissing me like hired help. Sophia deserved better than a man who saw her family as obstacles to manage. I called her back at midnight. "Dad." "Oh, thank God. Kevin says you canceled everything. Tell me that's not true." "It's true, sweetheart." Silence. Then why? "Your fiancé told me the best gift I could give your family would be to disappear. So I did, and I took my gifts with me. He didn't mean it like that. He was probably just stressed. He meant it exactly like that. He's been meaning it for months." I could hear Kevin in the background, hissing instructions, probably telling her what to say to get me to restore the funding. "Dad, even if Kevin said something thoughtless, this is my wedding, you're punishing me for his mistake." "No, honey, I'm protecting you from a man who thinks your father is disposable as long as his money isn't. That's not who he is. It's exactly who he is. And if you marry him tomorrow, you'll spend the next 10 years learning that the hard way." She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. "So what happens now?" "Now you decide if you want to marry someone who can't afford the wedding you planned, or if you want to postpone until you find someone who values what you value. The church is paid through next month." I added, "If you want a small ceremony with people who actually love you, I'll gladly pay for that. But I won't finance another day of Kevin treating your family like we're lucky to be tolerated. I need to think. That's all I wanted, sweetheart, for you to think." I hung up and started loading my truck. By dawn, I'd be at my cabin in the mountains, 3 hours away. Kevin had wanted me gone. Now he could explain to 200 wedding guests why the groom's attitude problem had canceled the bride's dream day. Some lessons cost more than others. I woke up at 5 a.m. to 37 missed calls. The wedding was scheduled for 2 p.m. By now, vendors would be arriving at the venue to find locked doors and canceled contracts. My phone buzzed. It was Sophia. "Dad, I'm at the church. Father Mitchell says you canceled the ceremony. The florist just left. She says you told her not to deliver the arrangements." "That's right. The caterer is threatening to sue us for the deposit. Kevin's parents are driving here from Tennessee. My bridesmaids are in their hotel rooms crying. I felt sick, but I committed to this path. What does Kevin have to say?" "He's making calls, trying to fix this. He thinks maybe we can pay the vendors directly, get them to come back." "With what money?" Silence, then quietly, "He's trying to get a loan." Kevin had finally hit the wall. He was about to learn what his dream wedding actually cost when someone else wasn't paying for it. "Sophia, I need you to understand something. I didn't cancel your wedding to hurt you. I canceled Kevin's wedding to save you. What's the difference? A wedding is about 2 families joining together. Kevin made it clear my family wasn't welcome. So I took my family, my money, and left." "But you're my family, too." "Exactly. And Kevin asked me to disappear from it. My phone beeped with another call. Kevin, I need to go, sweetheart, but I want you to pay attention to what Kevin does next. When someone shows you they are under pressure, believe them. I switched to Kevin's call. Stuart, you've made your point. Now fix this. Fix what? Don't play games. You know exactly what you did. I know exactly what you asked for. I disappeared, just like you wanted. I didn't mean literally cancel the wedding, you psycho. There it was. The real Kevin. No more politeness. Then what did you mean? I meant stop trying to control everything. Stop acting like you're the father of the bride. I am the father of the bride. You're not paying for the wedding anymore, so you don't get a say. I had to laugh. Kevin, I've been paying for this wedding for 8 months. The venue, the food, the flowers, the band, the photographer, your honeymoon, your bachelor party, every single thing. And you think I stopped paying because I don't get a say anymore? Silence. You stopped paying because you're having some kind of mental breakdown. Sophia thinks so, too. Put her on the phone. She's busy trying to save her wedding day from your tantrum. Then she's busy trying to save Kevin's wedding day, because without my money, there is no wedding. I could hear him breathing hard. Finally, what do you want? I want you to prove you can afford the life you're asking my daughter to share with you. The wedding bill is $85,000. Wire to the vendors, and I'll call them back to restore services. I don't have $85,000. Then you don't have a wedding. This is insane. This is reality. You want to get married without my interference. Great. Get married without my money. Sophia will never forgive you for this. Maybe not, but she'll thank me eventually for showing her what kind of man she almost married. I hung up and turned off my phone. I needed coffee and quiet to think. Kevin was about to get desperate, and desperate people make revealing choices. The mountain air was crisp and clean. I sat on my cabin's porch, watching the sunrise over the ridge. For the first time in months, I felt peaceful. No phone calls about wedding details. No tension about Kevin's latest dismissive comment. No walking on eggshells around my own daughter. Kevin had given me a gift in his way. He'd shown his true face early enough for Sophia to see it. Now we'd find out if she was looking. I turned my phone back on at 10 a.m. 43 missed calls, 26 voicemails, and 62 text messages. The first voicemail was from Jennifer, the wedding coordinator, panicking about vendors showing up to a canceled event. The second was from Kevin's mother, asking if I'd lost my mind. The third was from my brother-in-law, Tony, who'd driven down from Virginia with his wife for the wedding. Stuart, what the hell is going on? Kevin called me ranting about you sabotaging the wedding. Says you went crazy and canceled everything out of spite. That doesn't sound like you, but I need to know what's happening before I drive home. I called Tony back first. He'd been Caroline's brother. Knew me for 20 years. Tony, it's Stuart. Jesus. Finally. What's this about canceling the wedding? Kevin made you sound like you'd snapped. Did he mention why I canceled it? He said you two had an argument about wedding details, and you overreacted. He told me the best gift I could give his family would be to disappear. Then he acted surprised when I took him at his word. Silence. Tony had never liked Kevin much either. He said, that night before last, right after the rehearsal dinner, cold as ice. And you've been paying for this wedding? Every penny. 85 grand so far. Son of a... Tony got it immediately. That's what I'd hoped. Where's Sophia in all this? Trying to save her wedding day. Kevin's got her believing I had some kind of breakdown. What do you need me to do? Just be there for her when reality hits. This isn't going to end well for Kevin. After Tony, I called Jennifer, the wedding coordinator. Mr. Patterson, thank goodness. This is a disaster. The vendors are furious. The guests are arriving in 3 hours, and the groom is trying to wire money from 3 different bank accounts that don't have enough funds. How much does he need? The catering bill alone is $28,000. He's got maybe $6,000 in his checking account. So Kevin was learning what his champagne dreams cost when someone else wasn't buying. What about credit cards? He's maxed out. I think he's calling family members now trying to borrow money. Perfect. Nothing like financial desperation to reveal character. Jennifer, I want you to know this isn't your fault. I canceled because the groom specifically asked me to remove myself from their family. I'm simply honoring his request. But the bride is about to learn something important about the man she's planning to marry. Let Kevin try to solve this himself. My next call was from an unknown number, Kevin's father. Mr. Patterson, this is Dale Bryant, Kevin's dad. My son called me about some kind of misunderstanding with the wedding payments. What did he tell you? He said you canceled the wedding services over some argument, and now he needs help covering the cost to get them restored. How much help does he need? He's asking for $60,000. I whistled. That's a lot of money to wire on 3 hours' notice. It is. That's why I'm calling you. Kevin says you can fix this with phone call, but you're being stubborn about some family dispute. Mr. Bryant, your son asked me to disappear from his family. I'm a man of my word. Pause. He asked you to what? Disappear. Said it would be the best gift I could give them. Longer pause. And you've been paying for the wedding. Every expense. Your son knew that when he made his request. Jesus Christ. Indeed. So now he's learning what it costs to get married without the father-in-law. He wanted gone. Dale Bryant hung up without another word. By noon, the situation had escalated beautifully. Kevin's attempt to fund. The wedding had failed spectacularly. His credit was maxed. His parents couldn't wire $60,000 on short notice, and his friends from the bachelor party had mysteriously become unreachable. Sophia called at 12:30 p.m., 2.5 hours before the ceremony. Dad, I need you to tell me the truth about something. Always. Kevin says you canceled the wedding because you want control over our marriage. Is that true? No, sweetheart. I canceled the wedding because Kevin told me to disappear from your family. He says he never said that. Of course he did. Sophia, I recorded our conversation. Silence. I hadn't actually recorded it, but Kevin's denial told me everything I needed to know about his character. You recorded him? I've learned to protect myself when dealing with people who rewrite history to suit their needs. Can I hear it? This was the moment Kevin had forced me to choose between my daughter's immediate happiness and her long-term well-being. I'd chosen her future. Meet me at Murphy's Diner on Independence Boulevard in 30 minutes. Come alone. The wedding's in 2 hours. Sweetheart, there is no wedding. Kevin can't afford it, and I won't fund it. But I need you to understand why. Murphy's Diner was halfway between Charlotte and my cabin. I got there first and took a corner booth where we could talk privately. Sophia arrived 20 minutes later, still in her robe, hair in curlers. She looked exhausted. Dad, I need you to fix this. I can't fix this, honey. Kevin broke it by saying something thoughtless when he was stressed, by showing me exactly how he sees our family as obstacles to manage until he gets what he wants. I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app. I'd been tracking Kevin's behavior for months without realizing it. Look at this. I showed her my records, every payment I'd made, every time Kevin had complained about my involvement, every dismissive comment, every demand for upgrades he couldn't afford. This is what $85,000 of gratitude looks like. Sophia, your fiancé took my money for 8 months while resenting my existence. She scrolled through the notes, her face growing paler. I didn't know you'd been keeping track. I wasn't keeping track. I was trying to understand why the man my daughter loved seemed to hate her father. He doesn't hate you. Then why did he ask me to disappear? She didn't answer. She was still reading my notes. The bachelor party was $4,000, she said finally, plus flights and hotels. Kevin told his friends I was paying and acted like I was being controlling when I questioned the cost. He told me you offered to pay for it. I offered to pay for a reasonable celebration. Kevin upgraded it to a luxury weekend and presented me with the bill. Sophia put down my phone and looked at me with Caroline's eyes. What do you want me to do? I want you to postpone the wedding until you're sure you're marrying someone who respects your family. All those people are here. They travel from all over the country. They'll understand when they learn why. What if Kevin apologizes? Sophia, He's been lying to you for the past 12 hours about what he said to me. Does that sound like someone who's sorry?" She started crying, not the gentle tears of a bride overwhelmed by emotion, but the harsh sobs of a woman realizing she'd made a terrible mistake. At 2 p.m., St. Peter's Cathedral should have been filled with 200 guests watching my daughter marry the wrong man. Instead, it was chaos. I drove by on my way out of town. Cars were pulling away from the parking lot. Wedding guests in their best clothes stood in confused clusters on the sidewalk, checking their phones, calling each other. Kevin stood at the church entrance in his tuxedo, gesturing frantically at anyone who would listen. His parents flanked him, looking mortified. His groomsmen had scattered. I parked across the street and watched the final act. Father Mitchell emerged from the church, still in his ceremonial robes. Father Mitchell spoke briefly with Kevin. Kevin's shoulders sagged. Without the payments, there would be no ceremony. The church doors closed. That's when Kevin spotted my truck. He ran across the street, wedding shoes slipping on the asphalt. "You son of a..." He pounded on my window. "You destroyed my wedding." I rolled it down halfway. "Your wedding? I thought you could afford your own wedding, Kevin. Isn't that what you told your groomsmen?" His face went white. Someone had talked. "I never said that." "Brandon did. Called me this morning asking why I'd really canceled. Seems you told your bachelor party that after the wedding, you'd never have to pretend to like me again." Kevin's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You also told him Sophia felt guilty about her mother's death, so she let me play wedding planner to keep me busy. Your words." "That's not..." "I didn't mean it." "You meant every word. The only thing you didn't mean was getting caught." Wedding guests were gathering, watching this public meltdown. Kevin's humiliation was complete. Where's Sophia? Somewhere safe, thinking about what kind of man asked his future father-in-law to disappear while spending his money. I started my engine. Kevin grabbed the door handle. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is. Sophia called off the engagement an hour ago." His face crumpled. "What?" "Turns out she didn't want to marry someone who lies to her about her family." I drove away, leaving Kevin standing in the street in his wedding tuxedo, surrounded by confused guests and canceled dreams. 6 months later, I got a letter from Sophia. She was living in Charleston, working for an art gallery, dating a teacher named Michael who'd known her in college. She'd enclosed a photo of them at a coffee shop, both laughing at something off camera. "Dad," the letter read, "I owe you an apology and a thank you. The apology for not seeing what you saw. The thank you for loving me enough to lose me temporarily, to save me permanently. I'm coming home for Christmas. Michael wants to meet you." I told him the story of my wedding day. He said, "Any man who'd asked you to disappear doesn't deserve to join our family. I think you'll like him." The letter included a newspaper clipping from Charlotte. Kevin had been arrested for check fraud, trying to pay for a new apartment with a rubber check. His marketing job was gone. His parents had cut off contact after learning about his treatment of me. Apparently, he told several people I'd had a mental breakdown and canceled the wedding out of spite. Sophia wrote, "When the truth came out, he lost most of his friends, too." I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer next to Caroline's engagement ring. Someday, when Sophia found the right man, she'd wear it again. That afternoon, I got a call from a young plumber named James who wanted to buy my business. He had 3 kids, knew the trade, and treated his customers like family. We met for coffee, and I liked him immediately. Maybe it was time for new beginnings all around. Kevin's demand that I disappear had given me exactly what I needed: the clarity to see what mattered and the courage to protect it. Kevin and his family faced lasting consequences for their behavior. His parents endured social embarrassment when their friends learned the full story of the canceled wedding, leading to their estrangement from their son. Kevin's professional reputation suffered when word spread about his fraudulent check incident and his treatment of his future father-in-law, making him unemployable in Charlotte's tight-knit business community. His social circle collapsed when former friends realized he had manipulated them with lies about Stuart's supposed mental breakdown, leaving him isolated and bitter. The wedding deposits he couldn't recover left him in debt. while his attempts to rebuild his life in other cities were hampered by background checks that revealed his fraud arrest. Sometimes, the best gift someone can give you is showing you exactly who they are before it's too late to walk away.